Hi everyone, my name is Whitney Coleman and today I will be showing you how to make tags using Microsoft Word. So let's get started. So I started by opening Microsoft Word up and we are just going to open up to a plain document. What I'm going to be using this tag for is I'm going to make a tag for my mother. I usually like to make hand-knitted goods, and I think the best way to present it is with a tag. So let's begin. So I'm going to start off by going into the upper left-hand corner, and I'm going to click on Insert, where all the tabs are for Home, Insert, Design, Layout, etc. I'm going to move in about 4 places in, and I'm going to click on Shapes. So you just click on that, and I like to stick in the rectangle family, but you don't necessarily have to. Again, this is your tag. You can do as you please, what you think will be best. So I'm going to use this one. It's called Snip Same Side Corner Rectangle, excuse me. And it's basically a rectangle just with like slants on top. So let's click on that. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring it back to the document, and as you can see, there's a plus sign, so we can start drawing our shape. So I'm just going to click with my mouse, and I'm going to drag it. And as you can see, as I'm dragging it, below my plus sign, there's the width and height. So those are basically measurements. So if you see I go this way, the width increases. If I go this way, the height increases. So if you don't know which size you want your tag to be, you can feel free to play around with that until you get a ratio that you like. But since I know what I want, sometimes it's kind of tricky. So I'm just going to unclick. I'm going to leave it there and just move it. As you can see in the upper right hand corner, there are 2 measurements. So you can use the arrows. I know what measurement I want, so I want it to be 4 inches. So I'm going to use the arrow to go up to 4. And then I'm going to, and then you can even type it in, which is even easier if you know what measurement you want. So I want this to be a 2.75. Again, you don't have to make it this size. You don't have to make it exactly like mine, but this is the ratio that I personally like. And if you want to follow this video to make it exactly this size, feel free. So, okay. So we have our shape and we have it the size that we want to. So we're just going to double click on the shape. This is what we're going to do to make it pretty. And as you can see, I'm going to close this up so it's easier. So as you can see with the paint bucket, there is 2 things called fill and line. So let's see what fill is. As you can see, the color of this shape is blue, and that's because we have a solid fill. So what a solid fill is basically whatever color you want, you can do. So I'm just going to click on this paintbrush and I'm going to change the colors. You can do a lot of fancy things to it. If you don't want to fill, that's okay. You can click on no fill and it just comes up blank. If you want a gradient fill, which is kind of like an ombre type thing, it's pretty cool. You can play around with that and figure out, what you want. You can even pick picture or texture fill, and I think that's what we're going to do today. So for texture, if you just go down under File and Clipboard, there's Texture, and you go over to the right hand side and you can click on the arrow and you can pick whatever texture you want, that wood. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a picture. So what you can do for a picture is you can literally go onto Google and type in pretty patterns, and a bunch of things will come up. You can pick whatever design you want. Make sure you save it to a place that you can easily access it. So in my case, I created a folder that literally says pretty patterns on it, and I saved it to that file. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to open that file, and here it already pops up. So as you can see up here, I saved it to a folder called Pretty Patterns. I'm going to use this pattern right here. Just click Insert, and there we have. So I like the way that looks right now, so I'm just going to close up Fill with this arrow, and then I'm going to go to Line. And what this line is, it's the outside line of this shape. So you can do no line if you prefer, again a gradient line if you'd like, but I'm going to do a solid line, and I like doing a line because when I cut out these tags, especially with a pattern, it's easy to, you know, see where you are cutting because it is so patterned in instead of just cutting so you have a funky shape at the end. So I'm going to click on color, and I'm going to click on the paint bucket, and I'm going to click on this magenta because I like the way that, you know, it pops throughout this pattern. And if you go 2 down, you can click on width, and I'm going to make it really fat because I'm just going to make it a 3 because, like I said, I like to know where I am cutting. Okay, and so that's that. So then we are going to make another shape. Again, this is a preference. You don't have to do this, but this is what I like to do to make it look pretty. So I'm going to click on Insert. I'm going to click on Shapes again. I'm going to click on the same shape. You don't have to. You can pick another shape, but I like to pick this shape. And, you know, again, if you want to play around with the ratio, you know you don't know what you want, you can, of course, do this. But I know what I want, so I'm just going to click it, and I'm going to go back up into the upper left-hand corner, or excuse me, right-hand corner, and I'm going to change the shape size to 3.5 by 2.25, and that's the ratio size that I like. So I'm going to move it, I'm going to center it the way I want to. I think I like the way that that looks. And for a fill, I don't like that blue at all. But I'm just going to do a solid fill because I think if I do a pattern or anything, it's going to just, you know, be too much. So I'm going to go to color, I'm going to go to the paint bucket again, and I can do magenta, but I don't like the way that looks, so I'm just going to do, you know, plain white. And I'm going to close that up, and I'm going to go to line, and you could do no line if you'd like, but I think I'm going to do a line because I just like the way that it looks. So let's keep with the magenta theme. And again, I'm going to go down 2 down from color, go to width, and I'm going to do a 2 point, let's say. Okay, I like the way that looks. Okay, so I'm going to close that up, and now we are going to begin our text. So I'm just going to close all this up, and we are going to go back to Insert. And we are going to go, instead of going to Shapes on the left-hand side, we're going to go all the way to the right-hand side, about 6 in, and we're going to click on Text Box. And I'm going to click on the arrow, and I'm going to do a vertical text box because I don't want my text going left to right. I don't think that would look okay. You can if you want, but I'm just going to make sure that my text is able to go up and down, and utilize the space. So I just click on vertical, and of course you can see, you know, your mouse looks a little different, so I'm going to do the same, you know, click and draw, and I'm going to make it the same size as the small shape just to make it easier. So there, it's 3.5 by 2.25. Again, if you have a different size tag, you can play around with that ratio and whatnot. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to home, and I'm going back to home because this is where all the text information is, and you know, things you can do to play around with that. So I'm going to start by typing out happy birthday, Mom. I'm going to make that on another line, so Mom. You can have whatever message you want, and clearly this is way too small, so I'm going to just, I'm going to highlight it, and I'm going to change the size to, let's try 26. I like that. So, again, if you don't know, you can play around. Let's do 26. And I don't like the way that this is all pushed to one side. If you like that, great. I personally don't. So I'm going to go to where these lines are, right, like kind of in the middle. And these lines, you know, move it to the side. They can move it to that side, whatnot. I want it in the middle. So I'm just going to highlight and just align it. And Microsoft does the work for you. They make sure that it's perfectly centered. And so what I'm going to do now is I don't like that font. So I'm going to go to the font, which is next to the size. And I'm going to click on the arrow. And you can look through all these different fonts. And I'm just going to click on this. Make it a little fancy for my mom. And I don't like the way that black is because I just don't think it goes with our theme. So I'm going to click on magenta color. Oops. Just highlight it. I want to make it bold too because it looks a little thin. Oops. I just moved that text box, sorry. So I'm going to just highlight it and click on the B for bold. There we go. I like that. A lot of color. And there you have it. That is how you make a tag. Thank you for tuning in today. I hope you all make beautiful and wonderful tags for your friends and family members, and I hope they enjoy it. So thank you for watching this video. Have a great day. Bye.